Welcome to Brad's Beer Review, second edition. Next, we're going to be reviewing Fat Tire. Get my damn hand out of the way. We're going to review Fat Tire Amber Ale by New Belgium Brewing Company. This beer will forever remind me of a good friend that I've had. I sadly don't get to see him much anymore. He lives in Colorado these days and he loves it. Shout out to you, Vic. I'm going to tag you when I put this video on Facebook. But yeah, man, it always reminds me of you. And matter of fact, that's why I picked it up. I also picked this one up at Publix in Alabama. I've had this many times over my life, and I'll be upfront and honest with you, it's never been a favorite of mine. But old Vic loved it. And I don't think that he drinks it much anymore. At least last time I talked to him, he said he had gotten more into whiskey since he moved. Anyway. But I never was a huge fan of it, and he loved it. But I'm going to give it another shot, see what it tastes like to me today. It's 5.2% alcohol by volume. The Bros and the general score on Beer Advocate is an 82, so that's a good score. On Rate Beer, it gets a 43 overall and a 51 in the style. So from what I've seen, a lot of people tend to like this beer. And I know why my buddy likes it, because as you see, there's a bike on the label, and he is big into biking. And when I was looking into the history of how this beer was made, it was actually inspired from a biker, hence the bike on the label and the name. So I understand completely why he likes it, and I will be holding on to this bottle after I review it, and I'll review Vic. Let's pop the top on this baby. Just not as impressive as cracking the top on a can. Give it a pour. Let's see. This is brewed in Fort Collins, Colorado, and Asheville, North Carolina. Looks like this will still be pretty fresh. It says to enjoy by January of 2017. But there's not a whole lot of information on the bottle. Cool label though. Let's get a smell on it. First thing I noticed, and I haven't had a lot of luck with getting good heads on beers lately. Maybe I need to start pouring them down the middle. But there's really no head to speak of here. What was there was like an off-white color. The appearance is, well, as the bottle says, it's an amber color. Almost a little red. Reminds me a little bit of sweet tea. Like a weak sweet, or a weak tea. You know, you can drink it unsweet or sweet, and I actually prefer it unsweet. Let's get a smell on this, guys. I don't get much on the aroma, to be honest. Maybe faint brown bread. Very, very, very faint hops. Faint caramel. There's not a lot to it, guys. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. It's got a medium to light mouthfeel. When you first take the drink, it really kind of hits you in the cheeks, or at least it does me. Thicker than some beers I've had. And that reminds me, that was one thing that I disliked about it years ago. Now, we have to take into consideration that at the time that my buddy was drinking this and that I had been introduced to it, I was mainly used to drinking cheap beer. Budweiser was a favorite of mine. It's the first beer that I just really loved. Feelings are different on that now, obviously. So this was completely out of the realm of normal for me. Um, it may have been the first craft beer I ever had, come to think of it. I'm pretty sure this was the first craft beer I've ever had. And while I'm thinking about it, I don't know how well you guys can see it. This glass here that I'm using has my name on it. My mom and dad picked that up for me a couple of years ago. I like it. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But yeah, back when I first was introduced to this, it felt thick to me, and back then I always just drank it straight out of the bottle. I hadn't become refined at the time and learned that beer tasted better out of a glass. You get a brown bread, really faint caramel, slight hops on the back end. But that's really about it with it, guys. It's not a bad beer at all. Not complex, but sometimes that's a good thing, you know. You don't want this beer, to me, would be good to sit around with your buddies with the barbecue. It'd probably go good with burgers and hot dogs. It's got more flavor than your Bud Light or your Coors Light or your Coors even, to me. So if you're looking for something that's got some more flavor to it, but it's not going to just overwhelm you, this is probably a good beer for you to start with. And drinking it now, I actually enjoy it more than I used to. Um, a thought that just occurred to me is, like I said, I was so used to drinking those widely produced lager beers that this was like too flavorful for me at the time, which is funny to me now because I've had much more flavorful beers since then. This is on the weaker side. So what would I rate it? Well, I'm going to go with a C plus on this one. It's a perfectly fine beer. I can't say that it's a standout among anything that I've drank before. You know, maybe a C plus is undercutting it a little bit. Maybe I'll go ahead and we'll give it a B. This is actually a good beer, guys. You really can't go wrong with it. Easy drinking. There's nothing offensive about it. It would go good with a barbecue, get you a burger. Yeah, so Fat Tire Amber Ale. I'm going to give it a B. If you've never had it, go out and find it. If you have had it, I would like to know what you think about it. And I hope to get my hands on their, it's a Sunshine Weed or Sunset Weed. I can't remember the exact title, but that was one of the other craft beers that I was first introduced to. And I liked that even back then, I can remember. It's along the lines of your Blue Moon and your Shock Top as far as flavor, from what I can remember. And I look forward to trying that again. Last time I had it, I think that I actually enjoyed Shock Top over. I can remember Dad and I both buying, or I did. I don't know what he bought that day. I bought a 6-pack of Shock Top and a 6-pack of this new Belgium to compare them, and I think I actually enjoyed the Shock Top better. Might do that for the channel sometime. Compare them again, see which one I like better all these years later, because that's been like 6 years ago. Well, guys, I'm not going to keep you much longer because I know this is the second review for the day and I've rambled a little bit. But I want to let you know that I just put my dad's brown ale in the fridge to get it cool. If you remember, I told you that he brewed at home and that he'd given me some, and I was waiting on it to bottle age. It's ready to drink, so I just have to get it cool, and I'm going to do a video where I drink on it and just talk to you guys. We'll have that coming up maybe this weekend. Otherwise, share the video, guys. If you like it, like the video. Let me know what you think. And we've got some exciting things coming up on the channel. I'm going to be doing some different videos where I go to at least a couple different bar and restaurants that have given me permission to film in the restaurant and give my opinion and my experience with them, as well as review some beers. So we've got that coming up sometime soon, hopefully. We're also working on possibly doing I guess you maybe would call it a beer roundtable with me and a couple other people. Just talking about beer, what we're drinking, what we like, and shooting the shit, really. We got that coming up, and hopefully do that sometime soon. So we've got some things coming up to the channel. It's going to be a little different. Just me sitting here by myself talking about beer, and I hope you like it. But thank you for joining Brad's Beer Reviews for the second time today, and I will see you later.